The Toxic Woman of Riverside. On the night of February 19, 1994, a routine emergency room in Riverside, California, transformed into a literal biological horror movie. Paramedics rushed in a 31-year-old woman named Gloria Ramirez. She was suffering from severe heart palpitations. But within minutes of her arrival, a mysterious, invisible poison began spreading from her body, knocking out doctors, paralyzing nurses, and forcing the entire hospital to evacuate. This is the chilling story of the woman the media branded as the Toxic Woman. Welcome back to the medical file. When Gloria Ramirez was wheeled into General Hospital, she was conscious but breathing heavily. Medical staff immediately injected her with sedatives to stabilize her heart. But almost instantly, the nurses noticed something highly unusual. Gloria's body was covered in a strange, oily sheen that looked like garlic or ammonia. When a nurse named Susan Kane hooked up a syringe to draw Gloria's blood, a foul, chemical odor escaped the vial. It smelled like rotten eggs and industrial solvents. Susan took one sniff, felt a burning sensation on her face, and collapsed straight to the floor. Panic immediately rippled through the ER. Another doctor, Julie Gorchinsky, stepped up to take over. She noticed strange, pale gray crystals floating inside Gloria's blood vial. As she leaned in to inspect them, her vision blurred. She felt a wave of intense nausea, dizzy spells hit her brain, and she fell backward, losing consciousness. Next was a respiratory therapist named Maureen Welch, who fainted right on top of the medical equipment. One by one, anyone who came within 3 feet of Gloria's body was dropping like flies, suffering from muscle spasms, temporary paralysis, and breathing failure. The ER was in absolute chaos. Out of the staff present, more than 23 medical workers were severely affected. The hospital administration had no choice. They ordered a total evacuation of the emergency room. Patients were wheeled out into the parking lot in the freezing night air. Doctors who weren't affected put on full hazardous material, hazmat, suits just to get back inside and tried to save Gloria. Tragically, despite all medical efforts, Gloria Ramirez passed away that night. But the mystery of her toxic body was just getting started. The news hit the American media like a shockwave. A special team of forensic scientists was called in to perform an autopsy. They had to wear heavy, airtight spacesuits inside a specialized biohazard chamber because they feared Gloria's corpse was still emitting lethal gas. They tested the air, her clothes, her blood, and her organs. But here is the kicker. The initial tests found absolutely no known toxins, nerve gases, or chemical weapons in her system. The government investigators were completely baffled. Desperate for an answer, the Department of Health released a controversial theory. They claimed that the hospital staff suffered from mass hysteria or mass psychogenic illness. They basically suggested that the nurses panicked over nothing, and their minds triggered fake physical symptoms. The medical community was furious. Dr. Julie Gorchinsky, who spent 2 weeks in the intensive care unit with severe breathing damage and bone necrosis from the exposure, sued the state, saying, "Mass hysteria doesn't put people in the ICU with physical organ damage." Finally, a breakthrough came from the prestigious Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. Scientists discovered a bizarre chain of chemical reactions that had occurred inside Gloria's body. Gloria had been battling late-stage cervical cancer and was using a controversial home remedy for the pain, an industrial solvent called DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide. DMSO is an oily substance that smells like garlic, matching the exact smell the nurses reported. When doctors gave her oxygen in the ER, the oxygen combined with the DMSO in her blood, creating a rare compound called DMSO2, dimethyl sulfone. DMSO2 is harmless on its own, but inside the blood vial, as it cooled down, it crystallized, explaining the pale crystals Dr. Gorchinsky saw. But the final, lethal twist happened when the electrical shocks from the defibrillator paddles or the low temperature caused the DMSO2 to break down into dimethyl sulfate. Dimethyl sulfate is a highly dangerous chemical weapon, a literal lethal nerve gas that causes immediate paralysis, breathing failure, and tissue damage. Gloria's body had accidentally turned into a chemical weapon factory. Case closed, right? Not quite. Many independent scientists claim this chemical reaction is mathematically impossible to replicate in a human body at those temperatures. Gloria's family still believes the hospital made a massive mistake with a gas leak and used her medical history as a cover-up. The true secret of what happened on that terrifying night in 1994 remains locked away in the government archives. Was it a freak chemical reaction, mass hysteria, or a government cover-up? What do you think really happened to the toxic woman? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you want to unlock more dark archives, open the medical file by hitting that subscribe and like button right now. Stay safe, and see you in the next file.